All right, guys. Welcome to Infinity TV. I am your host, Chantel, better known as Miss Recycle. I'm here today to talk to you guys about gaslighting. I was just talking to you a second ago, and whatever happened, happened. But this is part two. Now, I want to get straight to it before we get interrupted. I want you guys to know what gaslighting is and to kind of try to identify if you are a victim of such, okay? So just listen.
So, what is gaslighting? Merriam-Webster defines gaslighting as the act or practice of grossly misleading someone, especially for one's own advantage. Gaslighting is a form of manipulation that undermines the recipient's reality and is meant to leave them insecure and unsure of themselves. Over time, gaslighting will wear you down and erode your self-confidence. When someone is gaslighting you, it creates a fog of uncertainty and self-doubt. For what it's worth, what you have described that your partner is doing sounds like classic gaslighting. Gaslighting can happen on a one-time basis, situational gaslighting, and some may chalk it up to a heated or emotional conversation gone awry. See, the debate around The Bachelorette and whether or not Greg was really being emotionally manipulative or gaslighting Katie, or just being emotional. But it sounds like what you're describing is a continual pattern of behavior, aka ongoing gaslighting. This is considered a form of emotional abuse and shouldn't be taken lightly.
Emotional, spiritual.
Where does the term gaslighting come from? The phrase gaslighting comes from the 1944 movie Gaslight, in which Gregory, played by Charles Boyer, attempts to drive his wife Paula, played by Ingrid Bergman, insane by making her doubt her reality in order to have her institutionalized and gain access to expensive jewelry he believes is hidden in the house. In a key scene, he makes the gas lights in the house flicker, and when Paula asks why the light is flickering, he tells her it is not really happening and that it is all in her mind. This is part of his master plan of lies, deceptions, and misdirects. When you are in a relationship with someone who is gaslighting you, much like Paula, you can feel like you are starting to lose your mind, and there are some classic techniques that you should know about. Red flags that you are being gaslit by your partner.
All right, y'all. Now she's going to go through some red flags. By the way, this is Google Go. I use it all the time, okay? When I'm just cooking or whatever I'm doing and I want to listen to Pastor Darby, or I want to listen to... basically when I want to read something as well and I don't have time to read it, Google Go is very good for that. So, I just want you guys to keep that in mind. Now she's about to go through the red flags, okay? So the red flags of the symptoms and what you're gonna feel and how you're gonna feel, it's just crazy. Believe me, y'all, I was being gaslit for 8 years and really didn't know it until now.
1. They deny objective facts that never happened. 2. They tell blatant lies. I did not give that woman my phone number. 3. They undermine your emotions as a way to invalidate your reality. You are being paranoid and jealous. There is nothing going on between me and her. 4. They accuse you of imagining or making things up when you are telling the truth. Stop lying. You know that is not true. 5. They criticize you and use put-downs that are subtle or overt. Of course you can't find your keys. You're the most disorganized person I've ever met. 6. They accuse you of being too sensitive, hysterical, or overly emotional. You are hysterical. Stop acting so crazy. 7. They accuse you of being paranoid, imagining things, or being told things did not happen that did. You always have some crazy theory. I am sure you never put that cash in your wallet. 8. They attack the people, things, and values that are most dear to you. Your daughter wouldn't be such a brat if you were a better mother. 9. Their actions are inconsistent with their words and self-reporting. I help with the housework all the time. I do more than you do.
You better check the phone.
10. They accuse you of the things they are actually doing. Maybe you are cheating on me. That must be why you are so paranoid. 11. They try to use other people against you by reporting things people said about you they did not say. Your sister told me she thinks you are really irresponsible. 12. They insist you were not someplace that you know you were. You never went to that restaurant with me. 13. They try to turn people against you or harm your credibility with others. I am really worried about Jane.
Yes.
She has gotten so emotional and is making such bad decisions. You may want to think twice about involving her in the family business. 14. They convince you that other people are lying to you. Your father is such a liar. How can you even believe him for a minute? 15. They hide objects from you and then act like they don't know anything about it. You lost your keys again? You really have a problem with your memory.
So now, you guys, if any of these things have been happening to you, you are a victim of gaslighting. And most victims of gaslighting, like I said, are victims of domestic violence. Most victims of domestic violence are dealing with a narcissistic person. Most narcissists are either sociopaths or psychopaths, okay? So you have to remember that. Know what you're dealing with, okay? Excuse me. It's very important to know what you're dealing with, okay? And like I said, have you an escape plan. If you are afraid, listen, get you some mace. Keep you some mace. It will back them up like a dog, okay? I am not playing with you. I'm very serious. If you have to prevent this person from harming you, and if you have to use mace, get your children away. Cover your children up. I don't know what you have to do. Make sure they're in a safe place. But do what you have to do. I don't recommend violence, but I do recommend you defending yourself, okay? And if that is part of your escape plan, for you to have to defend yourself in order for you to get out, then that's what you do. You call a friend, you schedule up something, you get you an escape plan for you and your children. Get to a safe haven, because I guarantee you, it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Because if someone is abusing you, that means they don't love you. All right? And you don't want to stay in that type of situation, because, you know, you have your children. Your children are looking, they're watching. And even though we teach them what not to do, they learn by sight. And we have to remember that. So when they're put in an abusive situation, all right, and we tell them, oh, no, don't do this and don't do that. Believe me, I grew up in an abusive situation, okay? Ran away at 10 years old. My sister was 15. I was 10. We ran away, call ourselves running away to a safe haven. But now that I think about it, I left my mother uncovered. I left her behind to be abused. So you don't want your children to leave you. You don't want your children to leave you. Believe me, I regret leaving my mother, because now that I think about it, he was able to do so much more to her without us being around, versus us being there. When we were there, I think he was more lenient on the abuse, but when we left, he was more harsh on her. She lost teeth, damn near almost lost an eye, excuse my French. And I don't mean to go all in depth in my business, but I want to let you know that this is like generational curses that we have to break, okay? This was something that I went through. This was something that my mother's mother went through. This is something that we have to break, because 9 times out of 10, if you're a victim of domestic violence, you're coming from a victim of domestic violence, be it your mother or be it your father, your grandmother or great-grandmother. You're coming from generations of women being abused, and it has to stop somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I know we may love this person that we're with. We love them, but do they love us? That's the question. And when do we start loving people more than we love ourselves? Because when you come in a situation where you're loving someone more than you love you, or you're loving someone more than you love your children, it's a problem. Because a real man wouldn't want you to give him more love than you give your children. A real man wouldn't want you to put your children before them. All right? This is just bottom line. This is things that a real man will not do. So if you have a man in your face calling himself a real man, but he's allowing you to put your children before him, then he's not a real man. He's a narcissist, he's a control freak, and he's an abuser. All right? And he cares nothing about you or your children. So I advise you, create you a plan, all right? It doesn't have to consist of mace. Hopefully it doesn't consist of a knife or a gun. But this is the safest way to do it without really actually harming anyone, including yourself. Male men, they carry it all the time to back the dogs up. So this is what you're going to have to do to back the dogs up. This is what you're going to have to do. I had to do it, and believe me, it backed the dog up, okay? The dog didn't want to fight anymore after that, all right? And that's just the bottom line, you know. And once I got myself together and determined that this, and had to make a determination within myself that this is not what I wanted, I had to flee the situation. It wasn't easy. It's not easy. Now I know what my mother went through, okay? And a lot of times, girl, I'm going to tell y'all, a lot of times we have to go through some of these things in order for us to know what our parents went through. I always thought, like, why didn't she leave him? Why isn't she leaving him? Why is she staying with him? And because leaving is not easy. It's not easy. And I know that for a fact. I know that now. I didn't know that then. I blamed her for a lot of things. And this is why I say protect your children, protect them, please, because they will blame you in the end for not leaving. They will blame you in the end for allowing them to be abused. I'm telling you, you don't want that. You don't want that, because I was angry with my mother for a very long time, and my father too. He was the one abusing her right in front of me as if I didn't even exist, okay? And that's a hurtful feeling when you have a parent abusing. You know, you got your parents that you love fighting each other, and it's like, wow, you know, wow. But you see that who the abuser is and who the victim is. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I really wish that I would not have left her behind. But I ran away at 10 years old because I thought it was the safest thing for me to do. So I ran to my grandparents' house, and I stayed with them ever since. And I tried to convince her to leave and come with us, but she didn't. She wouldn't. But eventually she did leave. And at the end of the day, I believe that is what caused a lot of her health problems. Due to being abused, she had cataracts. She had some mental issues, mental illnesses. She ended up getting renal failure. You know, it was just a trickle effect. But when you're coming from trauma, right? When your body has been traumatized due to abuse, it affects your health in the long run, right? It affects your health in the future. So don't think, you know, and I wasn't just getting beat up, you know what I'm saying? I was fighting back. And we didn't fight all the time physically, but it was mental abuse, it was physical abuse, it was emotional abuse, and, you know, spiritual abuse. It was just abuse. Abuse is abuse, no matter what shape, form, or fashion, right? So I had to deal with a bully, right? Because that's what most of these people are, these gaslighters and these narcissist people. They're also bullies. If you check their record, go back into their school days, I guarantee you they were bullying people. They were taking stuff from people, you know, Debo mentality, because they thought they could, you know, and they grow up with this type of mentality because obviously they saw it in the home. All right, either their mother was being abused, they saw their mother, you know, taking care of men and allowing men to do certain things to her, so they thought it was normal, you know. And a lot of times women, they see the woman, the mother getting beat up and things like that, so they think, okay, this is how a relationship's supposed to go. They think it's normal, but no, it's not normal. It's not normal. And if you are in this type of situation, seek help. They have all type of domestic violence hotlines. I believe it's 1-800 domestic violence. Just give them a call. You know, you have to be very careful when you do reach out to these people. Yes, of course, I know, because if you have children, you know, things can get tied up. You know, CPS can get involved if you're fighting in front of your children. So be very careful what you say and what you do. Just make it about you. Make it about you. Make it your escape plan. Don't even mention your children. Don't even mention that you have children. Make it about you and an escape plan for you so that you can get to a safe haven. And that's really what it's all about. You getting to a safe haven, and in return, your children will go to the safe haven, okay? So